Hello, it is I, he who knocks. Oh, I did not. No, I did unmute. Ha! Take that. I've unmuted correctly. All right. So, today is another review with Pip Gaming. He recently did Winter Showdown. So we're going to go over a lot of the stuff that basically went wrong because he ended up kind of bombing out. So we're gonna have a chat with him. We're gonna see what's going on. We're gonna maybe do some more, excuse me, more VOD review stuff, and see what exactly we want to do to keep moving forward. All right. Well, actually, nope, stop. Okay, let me give him a call.
Hello, hello.
Ah, there he is. Hello.
Hey, I didn't have
Pip.
mic problems this time.
That's good.
Which
We
is
like to
very
be able
good.
to hear things. That's always a plus.
For sure, for sure.
All right, let me see if I can start sending you this, and we'll see if we can get it to be a little bit less crispy. So we'll stream it in 720 and hope that maybe it'll not try to be as bad if it's...
Yeah, I think it'll work. I think it'll work out okay.
Okay, so go live. All right.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, quality looks
There
good.
I be.
Okay. But
in the flesh.
yeah, so first things first, a lot of this that happened to you was obviously, you mentioned it yourself, a lot of it was the mental game that happened, right?
Yeah, this particular time, which is kind of rare for me when I go to hockey, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of my biggest problems I had going into today was, or at least this particular day, was how I guess mentally drained I was from the day before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because work was just absolutely annihilated my mental, and on top of that, I was kind of having some money trouble on top of that. So,
Yeah, that
so going into today, I'm coming fresh off of that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to keep it cool, and let's just say I tried my best.
Gotcha. Okay. So next question I had is, what are you doing to keep your mental state up? I know you said you were going to bring your headphones, and I did see you had them. You didn't wear them at any point, I noticed.
I did for this set actually. Collum is the only
you did
person
actually wear them. Okay, because I saw them around your neck, because they didn't cut to you all the time, but I saw them around your neck at the end of the set.
Yeah, yeah.
So you put them on in the middle of it.
Yeah, I did. I did.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Well, I still think like what is it? My solution to whether or not I bring headphones or not. I still think that's very much something I want to do. Right. I just think this day was just I was too far gone. I was too far gone.
Fair enough.
But,
so. I guess with that, what did you end up doing, before sets and in between sets?
So what was it? Okay, so right before the set, I had just come from getting some food at a restaurant with from a restaurant, Popeyes, with
So you'd just gotten off of getting some good food and
yeah, and I was just kind of coming back, kind of getting brushed off.
Did you do any warm-up games on this day?
I didn't. I really should have. I don't know why I didn't.
This is a personal philosophy that I got way back in the day when I was competing in card games and stuff. Never let your first game of the day be sitting down from your tournament opponent.
Which mine was.
Yeah, it generally, you just want some amount of something out of the way, right? It just doesn't feel Because if you sit down, you're just like, oh, should I have practiced? You just don't want that in your head, like at all, right? Even on the back of your mind. Because you're just like, oh, should I have warmed up or anything? Like, even if it's just like that one sentence, like a seed of doubt or like any little thing can spiral the worse the day gets, right?
Well, exactly.
So
It's something that was very much on the back of my mind going into it. Actually, I'm not sure if you like saw some of my first games. My first set I played on stream was versus this Potemkin.
okay, yeah, because I was browsing, but like there's no timestamps because this is just a Twitch VOD.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, I managed to find the two that you're in for the top. Was it 48 or something?
Yeah, it was.
Something
I was
like
actually
that.
on stream quite a bit, but earlier I was playing this pot and I was kind of rolling them, but at the same time I was also just letting myself just get hit for no reason at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this like the first game, like I by all means should not have dropped that. I was up like a full bar, had like 2 rounds on them, and right at the end they just came back with the massive comeback, almost twice. I still won the game, but that kind of like set precedence for like.
Well, it's kind of like what we mentioned in the last VOD review. You are like susceptible to momentum.
Very, very. I am a very emotional player, if that makes sense. Which is what I am. Which isn't always necessarily a bad thing, because when I'm having like
fine.
a great day, like for instance, anytime when I was at like Frosty, right?
Right, when you were at Frosty
Like,
Fastings, yeah.
Yeah, I was in my zone, but then going into like a day like today, like granted, in this particular set versus Collum, I don't think I actually did too bad. In fact, like Happy Chaos, it was actually, I'll admit, like the last thing kind of like on my mind.
Right.
If that makes sense in terms of like what was like seriously like kind of getting on me. Going into it, I was just kind of annoyed that it was taking a bit for me to get on stream to begin with.
Oh,
I was like,
somebody's getting annoyed. They're not becoming famous.
well, no, not like that. Although I could see how it comes across that way, but no, I just something about me and like weights just gets me. I don't know why. I just get, I just kind of sit there and I'm just kind of getting like anxious, like, okay, I want to go up. And I don't know if I'll do very good. The longer I just sit there, the more the thoughts just kind of like build up, and I'm like, oh no.
Right, and that's sort of one of the things I was wondering is why I asked what you did between sets. Because if you're doing something, it's a lot harder for that to happen. If you just like go up to your homies and just start chatting the shit all the way until your next set, you're good to go, right? Like there's a lot of things that can be done that like don't feel like a big deal, but really matter.
Oh, for sure,
right?
Sure.
Like if you take a hard loss, absolutely just go to your friends and commiserate. Just be like, oh, bro, this fucking like, and just chat the shit, and then like go play some casuals or just keep talking like for the whole time, right? Like you got to feed off of something, because if you just like sit there and start spectating without like doing something, you're gonna start to think real hard.
Which is what I was doing.
Yeah.
This is like working on that mental side just in general is something I've like always like really, really struggled with, because like I don't know what it is like about me specifically, but like it just kind of like sitting there with the thoughts. It just I don't know. I don't get me wrong. I love to like, chat the shit with people. In fact, like almost every time I'm down there, I'm like one of the most talkative people there, like constantly. Like in fact, like right before the set, before I went to lunch, with Collum, I was chatted up with him for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I called out to him when I saw him with the chaos glasses, which is what he's wearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got him on there.
Yeah, he wore it for the whole set. My man's.
Yeah. That's good shit.
Oh yeah, no, but definitely a lot of things I could have done better in that regard. But I just got to remember, just because like one of my I guess like ways of like I guess just dealing with like getting like emotional or like whatever is I kind of like tend to like isolate myself in a way,
Right.
which just is a recipe for disaster. So
For sure. Okay.
so yeah.
Well, let's see. Okay. Sorry, I'm also quickly getting something set up because I wanted to go over a little bit with you because you've mentioned a lot of the mental and like how you're feeling each day, obviously. Because, for example, it's because we know that you were the best placing Faust at Frosty Faustings, right?
Correct, yes.
And obviously we joke about it, like, haha, the best Faust, all this, but that doesn't necessarily actually make you the best Faust, right?
Very tongue-in-cheek, right?
Right, yeah. It's mostly, kind of jokey, and it's just fun to, again, keeps up the height, good morale, not really like a problem.
Oh, yeah, no, but I
wanted
think
to
that's
go over sort of what the difference between like you and like somebody like Apology Man would be, right? Is and let me see if I can get this figured out, but go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Oh, I'll be honest, I kind of forgot.
Oh, no problem. All good. I'm just setting this up so that
I'm kind of on my post-work brain right now.
All good. Well, let's go with like 100 there. Like 100 there. Sorry, I totally should have set this up before the stream, but I just didn't think about using this as like an idea for like a tool.
Yeah.
But okay, let's do that.
Well, it gives me time to light my candle. That's on my desk, so.
Okay, cool.
Just keep the vibes up. Keep the vibes up.
Keep the vibes. Okay.
Just crack a.
So I'm gonna move over to
old one.
This one. We're gonna move. No, not that. Nope. There. Okay. Moving that out of the way. Add this. Okay, cool. So this is not technically going to be visible in the Discord because this is just a stream overlay I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I messed something up. Hold on. Wait. Yes. Here into this screen. Professional streamer. BT Dubs.
Oh.
Totally know what I'm doing. At all times. Let's see. Okay.
As I would expect.
Yeah. Sasuga. Let's go. All right. So this is technically going to be on the stream, but I'm just going to briefly do a little bit of. This is my art program. I'm just going to illustrate a couple of things to like use like a visual aid, if that makes sense. So I'll send you a quick link to the stream.
Okay.
As well, I guess I could also just change which screen I'm sharing.
Oh, true.
Well,
I'm on the YouTube right now. I got the live button.
Okay, you got it. Okay, cool.
Sure do.
All right, well, let me go to Greta here. Yep, there's my thingy. So let's say you've got quite a big range, right? So you're like on a good day, you're like pretty up there. And then on a bad day, roughly where do you like put yourself on a scale? Like on a bad day, do you think that like your performance that you had at Winter Showdown is typical on like a bad day? Or do you think that was like worse than usual or still better than usual?
Honestly, worse than usual. It's mainly especially for like my set going into Purp because like I'll be honest, I'm kind of embarrassed about that set just because of like, man, I mean,
we'll get into that for sure.
Yeah.
Because like literally from round one, I could tell I was like, that's a bummer.
Yep.
because
Yep.
just the way you were playing. But
Well,
okay.
and on top of that, going into that set, that was another. I was also the last person before top 8, or at least
Mhm.
like one of the last people to be in a set, right?
Yep.
So like on top of like like losing a set, I've also been like what as you said, spectating for like
Yep.
an hour, or at least like half an hour. That's an
Yeah, for sure.
exaggeration.
God, dude, after you're like an artist, like drawing with your mouse is so fucking hard. Okay. I could have plugged in my tablet, but again, I was not prepared to do this.
I feel.
So we are mouse boys today. Okay. So here's Pip, and on a good day, this is his skill, and then on a bad day, that's down here, right? Which is still pretty high, right? So if we put like into perspective, so we can use my scale that I normally use, which is the like high level player, the grinder, like all that stuff. So like on a
Yeah.
good day, you're like low level pro. So we'll put like LLP. All right, and then on a bad day, you're probably about back down to grinder.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And in that grinder
Right,
mindset.
and this is probably like middle of grinder, not like near the end or anything.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
this is
Yeah.
like early stages of like, oh yeah, I just got my first 1,000 games, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then so this is you, and then like so on Frosty, you were on a good day, right? You were killing it. You were bombing. You're killing everyone. You're doing good shit.
Yep.
And then so Winter Showdown, you had a bad day, and that happens. So that would be your range. And so we'd say, well, you managed to beat Apology Man at Frosty Faustings, right?
Yes.
So where does that put Apology Man on this day? Well, it's not that like we can just put this line here and say, oh, well, that's where Apology Man is, because he also has a good day, bad day spectrum, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say on a good day, Apology Man is approaching like the high level pro pretty well. Again, I'll just abbreviate stuff. So that's like high level
HLP.
pro. Yep, HLP. And then we'll put a bar up there. And then where would Apology Man be on a bad day? Probably just barely below where you beat him, right? Which is still like low level pro. And do you notice how much like smaller his skill spectrum is?
Right.
That's
right.
the difference that like experience makes, and having played in big tournaments repeatedly.
Yep.
Right, is because even on a bad day, you can still keep up your grind so that it's close enough to your high level skill.
Because
Right?
like I've done tournaments for like years, right, since like 2014, but
But how many majors have you done? How many, how much real pressure have you been under for that kind of a thing? Right?
but on terms of like actually taking it seriously, I've only really been at it since like like last May, so not even like 10 months. No, so about okay, no, 10 months, 10 months. And I guess this is just the first time I've like really felt that like sort of pressure, right?
Right.
Because like locals, like you could like not this. Well, you could like really afford to like have like like a bad day, right?
Yeah.
And
No, yeah, locals are completely different. They're their own thing, right?
for sure.
It's always been different. There's no weirdness on that. Like locals is different, and that's a fact.
For sure.
But no, so what your goal is to not just increase this top level, but the bottom level too. Right?
Yep.
And the question becomes, how do you increase that bottom level one? How do you make your bad day like not that much different from your good day? Something like Apology Man is, right? Like the big pros that you think of, that you're just like, well, damn, they pretty much are able to consistently reach a certain level in tournaments, and that's regardless of whether it's a good day or a bad day or whatever. They have a consistent level that they're always at. That's their range.
Yeah, like how do I like narrow it?
Right.
Which That's a toughie. That's a
It
toughie.
is a toughie, and the biggest thing you can do is just compete more. The more times you play on a bad day, the better you get at it, right?
Yeah.
And you know what can create a bad day? Well, one of the things that could create it is immense pressure, and that's going to majors.
Yep.
Where like the more majors that you play at, the more likely you are to have a bad day, or the more likely you are to just the day turns bad, the better you're doing, right? The more pressure you feel. And then so like going to tournaments and competing and like genuinely doing all that will naturally increase your bad day skill level.
Which, like, I will say, I think, like, in terms of like where like I started, the spectrum like has like gone up a lot. But I guess it's just like one of those things. Like I'm still very much like new to like all this, and I'm still very prone to like just flub ups and you know all that.
And again, and that's exactly it, right? So what happens when you tilt? Well, you go from here, and then you just tilt it out. Now it's a bad day. So that's what tilt does to you. Is it takes you on your spectrum and it just puts you lower.
Yeah.
So you just have to like try your best to combat that. And a lot of it comes down to like, well, how do you personally take a bad day and turn it into a good one? Like, what's your personal go-to of like, oh, this day kind of sucks. You know what'll cheer me up? X thing.
Chatting it up. That is easily like what gets me kind of like back in like a zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I did not do that. Yeah. Straight up.
and yeah, absolutely. So it's just like whatever your personal thing that you really, really love. If it's like, oh, dude, in order to get in the zone or like get focused, like get hype, like I just got to listen to like this album or something, right? Like whatever you got to do, man. Like if you're just like, oh, I need to really eat some like really tasty food beforehand and that'll really bring up my mood. Like that, whatever you got to do to get it done. And that's actually one of the reasons why I was saying going and like commiserating with your friends is one of the like the social interactions and all that. Like you will feel better about your loss. So you can just reverse your tilt. And like you'll go down and you'll be upset, and then you'll commiserate, you'll talk, they'll talk about their losses, and like you can all just, feel good about it and move on and be like, yeah, that sucks, and then you can go back to your starting point. You can effectively reset.
Yeah.
And so, if you think of it in this way, there's so many, it's a lot easier to grasp what you should be doing to keep your mental on point, right?
Yeah.
And again, this is all stuff that it's like, it's okay to have a big spectrum if you're really good at knowing how to bring yourself back up. Right? And then like you're very tippity top, like, because there's also the idea of like the zone, the zone, right? Where you're just like, when you are so in it that like you feel unstoppable. And like,
yeah, no, I've had you. Yeah, you've seen me in those days. I have.
And then so like that actually would just be like a buff to your thing. Well, that's where you're in the zone. Is it literally just goes up, and you're better than you actually normally can be. And knowing how to enter the zone, if you can manually do that, you're gonna be godlike, right? Obviously, you can't do that all the time because you will lose energy fast.
For sure.
Yeah, because if you can be in the zone for a while, but you can't sustain it a whole tournament, right? Which is why it's like super important to also reserve your energy. Which is one of the reasons why I've always said, try to get as many free wins early as you can. That's why it's always better to play strong characters or like have a specific gimmick or play your character so well that you can autopilot to beat lower players. And that sort of helps you keep all your energy so that you have the energy to use as much of like entering the zone and your energy left from having a good day into the hard matches where you need that energy.
For example, I'm not sure if I brought it up before, but a good example of me just, I guess, kind of like wasting that like beforehand was when no one was here for this. No one saw this, but I could tell you between like when I'd made it to top 48 winner side, uh, I was popping off in the hallway with Bobbin, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like hyping the shit out of myself. Like, oh, Tempest NYC, who is that? I don't know. I'm just gonna go in and
Right. You were doing the hype thing. Yeah.
Which is where I think like,
And I literally told you this in the last VOD review. Don't pop off early.
I know
Every time somebody pops off early, they have no energy and they lose.
Which is what happened.
And that is exactly what happened. I'm telling you, I've got it down. I know what I'm talking about. But
and like, you know what? I will trust you on that one. I will trust you
because yeah. Because it's one of those things where it's just like, because there is this obviously, good day, bad day, but your energy levels for the day also plays a factor in this. There's so many things that go into this, right? Like what goes into a good day and a bad day. On a bad day, you have no energy. On a good day, you've got overflowing energy. Like there's so many things that go into it, and it's going to be so personal to every person and player that it's like you just really have to like think about it enough, or just like have this idea in your head to really understand your specifics of it, right?
Yeah, and just find that balance.
Yeah. And then so it also comes down to, so this is one of those things. So it's like, you're like, oh, okay, well, I can only probably beat Apology Man on a bad day. Well, not necessarily, because again, this is all a spectrum. And again, you can go into the zone to give yourself a buff. And the biggest thing is you can manually like, how do I put this? Again, so if you can manually enter the zone and like make yourself do it, then that's good shit. But you can also just completely alter the spectrum based on the day. For example, so it's like, this is why I've never really thought like even an 8-2 matchup is winnable in bracket, even of equal skill. Because as long as you hone one specific skill, you can do it, which is something along these lines where it's like, oh, it's an 8-2 matchup. So they're going to win like so many of them. Oh, it's just 8. And then, so like this is the win-loss ratio of like the character matchup or something like that. Well, right. How many games does it take to win like a tournament round? Well, oftentimes it's 2.
Right.
So all you need to do is make sure that these 2 are first.
Before going into the, I guess, just what's expected, going into it.
So it's like, even if, out of 10 games against a player, you would lose 8 of them and win 2. If you are skilled enough to identify that you need to like reorient your play to put these 2 wins in the front, and you can manage that, you can win almost anything. And that's a very specific skill. Right? It's something
I haven't learned yet, right. But
most people don't know this skill. And I don't even think I necessarily know this skill. I just know that it exists. But like the idea of like just taking the 2 wins you'll get and being able to identify what it takes on those 2 wins and to put them early is like
right.
a very nebulous skill. But it's something that it's like a good goal to go for if you need to think of it that way. Because it's like, oh, well, so this is the character matchup. What about the player matchup? Well, if we look at, for example, what we've put here, this is not necessarily true, but like this was an illustration point. But if this is the actual skill gap between like you and Apology Man, where you have this big spectrum and he's got a generally good one.
Right.
This would be a player matchup that is 8-2. And all you need to be able to do is beat the player 2 times before. You just need to move those to the front.
I see.
So it's like, this is how you can beat players that are better than you. And it is, again, it's a very nebulous skill. But you basically, in order to do it in the player matchup as opposed to the like character matchup, because obviously it's very character specific. If like you can win, 2 times out of 10, you have to be like, well, what makes me win 2 times out of 10 as opposed to just losing them all? And then, that's all character specific. But for the player matchup, it sort of comes down to being able to understand players and how they think, because you can always beat somebody better than you, and you can lose to somebody worse than you. Again, it's all this, like, the player matchup can be considered on like a matchup chart, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm the favorite to win, you know, almost certainly. But as long as there's like enough uncertainty to where if your opponent can orient the games in a certain way, then they can win, right?
Right.
So it's like, in theory, if you were good enough to fight, say like Nubenheimer, right? And if you were fighting Nubenheimer, and what do you think the ratio would be on the player matchup there? Out of 10 games, how many would you expect to win?
So, if I'm going to go right off of the, I guess, doomer side of me, I'm like, oh, none, easy.
So you think it's a 10-0 if it's you versus Nubenheimer?
Right, but like realistically, if I were like to like really like hone in, I could take a few games for sure.
Well, so you and Nubenheimer like sit, you know, join up in the tower or something and play maybe 10 games. How many do you think you've won?
Maybe like 1 or 2.
Right, 1, maybe 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then this is in theory an unwinnable matchup. So it's like, and that's where it comes down to like the skill spectrum, where it's, so for you, that's a matchup you can't win. Because you, even no matter like how much you can like try to get down, it's too overwhelming. The skill gap is too much.
Right.
So you can beat players that are better than you, but not a lot better than you.
Right. Because at a point, I'm just lost. Especially when it comes to like, I guess, real like top players of top characters, right? Because like, I'll be honest, when it comes to like characters like Nago, Leo, or Chaos Ram, you know, typical top
the typical boogeymen right now, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really, really feels bad. Like, I guess just getting washed. In that sort of sense, right? Oh, and Chip. I know Chip generally isn't in like the discussion for the top, but like that, as we talked about in the last.
I would say Chip is probably up there, but that's its own discussion. He's at least like up there somewhere. But
yeah, no, I'm not believing any downplay. I have seen too many good Chip play for it to be otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, and then again, like this also compounds. So it's like, well, Nago also has a good matchup against you. So you were saying, you know, Nubenheimer, you're maybe 8-2-9-1.
Right.
On top of that, your matchup with Faust against Nago is, what do you think it is? Maybe 7-3, 6-4?
It's even.
You think it's actually about 5-5? You think you have a good fight there?
Yeah, and like, it's actually one of the few like top matchups I do think like
that you think is
Faust,
close enough.
Like really, really competes in. Purely just for the fact like once Nago builds up some blood and it allows Faust to like actually like really, really like pursue his like win condition.
Yeah.
Which is just like flooding the screen with garbage.
Yeah. Fair enough. So then in that case, if it was like a 5-5, then you could just look at the player matchup because that's even, right? There's no one way or another. But, you know, the moment that you're like the character matchup compounds on the skill difference, that's when it becomes like truly, truly unwinnable. Right? Because then suddenly, if it's like Nago is a 6-4 or 7-3, and Nubenheimer is a 9-1 for you, it becomes a 10-0, right? Just
sure,
like that,
sure.
that like extra 1 or 2, it just immediately becomes unwinnable. And then so you just kind of have to work on figuring it out. And again, a lot of this can change because there's so much of it that like just skill grinding can only get you so far, right? You have to have the mental. You have to have the winning mindset, if that makes sense.
I think
and that's
part of it just has to like do with just, I guess, I don't know how to put it, but just like talking about like myself in like a more positive light, you know, just like you know, just have that like sort of like confidence about you. Not like, oh well, I'm like, you know, I'm just like, okay, whatever. No, I'm godlike, and I want to show the world, you know.
right. Absolutely. And to be fair, you and Redeemer both actually suffer from this, which is that you take a loss too hard.
I do. I thought, and this isn't like even like a lasting effect from him or really anyone. This is just something I've struggled with my entire life. So
yeah.
So it's just something like, you know, it's there. I'm aware it's there. I have to. It's one of those things. I have to like make it less of like a me problem, you know.
Right. And that is a real problem because so let's say you are playing somebody who's of equal skill. Do you think the winner is gonna say, "Ah, damn, shit, I'm so bad. This sucks, man," or do you think the winner's being like, "Yeah, I won. I'm sick. I'm nice." Like the confidence and like the knowledge of like you need, if you like take a hit to your confidence because you lost to somebody, and then your confidence dips below your skill, you cannot play at where your skill is. You can only play where your confidence is.
Exactly.
So it's like you can't win if you're thinking that you're worse than your opponent. You have to go in with the mindset of I can beat this person. And that's a big part of why I'm telling you like this spectrum and this like win-loss ratio and like how to beat better players. Because you have to think you can beat them. If you think you can't, you can't. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And that's why anybody who looks at their pools and says, "Ah, shit, I got Numenheimer in my pool," or, you know, "I got some big pro. I got Latif in my pool," and you're just like, "Well, that sucks." Well, you have no chance to beat them.
You are like losing the mental
you've
game
already lost. You cannot beat that player anymore because you have just told yourself that you can't. And so your hands are just not going to play at their optimal because you don't believe in yourself. Because how can you make the good calls or see the perfect opportunity if you're expecting to lose? You can't find the win if you're not looking for it.
You're right. And that's something I like partially struggle with when it comes to like the locals as well, because like, you know, I do want to like one of these days, like, you know, like take the whole darn thing, right? But I just have this nasty habit of just like having this horrible mental block going into like matchups against like the players, right? Because like
I know you have this block with
when you see like
too,
people like what is it like, you know, Noah, then
Noah, Voltion,
Volt,
a lot of the big names
Collum
that we have, and Collum, yeah.
I like, I'm like, okay, I really like, you know, someday I'm gonna get it, right? No, you
need to believe that today is the day.
Exactly.
You don't need to say someday. You say today is the day. And then you need to play like you're about to kick their ass. Right? Like it is 100% in the head. Because it is so easy to lose the game before you like touch your controller.
No, exactly. And what is it? That is probably like, in terms of like, what was it? Going into the set with Collum, probably like my biggest issue. Because like, forget chaos. Chaos doesn't exist in this.
Right, we're talking player matchup, not character matchup right now.
Because like, Collum's the homie. I love Collum, right? But same with like Volt and, you know, everyone else. But like,
absolutely.
Man, I just want to beat them up, shove them
Yeah.
into a locker.
Oh, that you gotta, dude. It's the moment a tournament flips on, your switch needs to flip. Because
Go into kill
honestly,
mode.
if anything, if it helps your mindset, become like the villain, if that makes sense.
Become evil.
Become the one that they have to beat. Right? Become like play degenerate. Be that guy. It doesn't matter. If you can just be like, yeah, cool, we're all chill, and then the moment like a tournament happens, like your switch flips, and then now you're like unbeatable because you're just like crazy zoning and saying screw everyone or whatever the hell. Whatever you got to do to mentally do it to get that confidence, if you have to play the role, like play some kind of role of either the hero, the villain, the underdog, whatever role you feel you have to play to keep that confidence up and say, I'm going to win. Like whatever story you have to tell yourself, you have to do it.
Exactly. And it's funny you mentioned that because, like, I kind of forget that, like, to some people in the local, I am just absolutely, like, the bracket demon.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. And it's like, you could embrace that and just be that guy.
I've had, like, people like Yinja and just straight up tell me that. I'm like, and Green, right? And I'm like, damn it. I gotta remember that it has to be just as frustrating for me, or well, for them as it is for me. Just
right.
I guess.
And so the moment yeah. So and with that, you can take that mental image and sit down across from them and say, they are the ones who need to be scared.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you're the bracket demon, or whatever, like whatever you want to call yourself. Whatever hypes you up and makes you feel like you're gonna dominate this match, do it.
I'm the silly goober of the scene.
Yeah, you're the silly goober, all right? Nobody can touch you because your goober is too silly, right? Like what?
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be anything serious either. Like that absolutely works. Like
I know.
As long as you know that you're gonna sit down and beat the shit out of whoever you're matched up against, and you feel that way. Because again, the winner isn't the one who says, damn, I could have played so much better today. That's not the winner who says that.
No.
The winner says, GG's, shake my hand. No, the winner, is the one who gets to say, yeah, I was on my game today.
Mm-hmm.
I was killing it. I'm great. I'm nice. Like, damn, I'm good. Like,
which for Winter Showdown, I was just, I had that loser mindset, unfortunately.
Yeah. And again, it's just it's a personal thing. Whatever you have to do to get out of it, however you cure your own funk, you just have to know it. You just have to figure it out. And it's possible. Because, for example, this is a Tekken related thing. But Arslan Ash? Have you heard of him?
Name's familiar. I don't think
he's basically like so he's sort of like the biggest of like the Pakistani Tekken scene. Okay. He showed up for the very first time having slept 3 hours, jet lagged to hell, and was literally at a subway station sleeping. Like, because he just had nowhere to go, all that because of his visa shit. 3 hours before the tournament. And then he won the tournament.
How?
Because he just knew what to do. He had the mental game of a winner. He was like, man, I've had a shitty day, but you know what I am good at? Tekken. You know what these guys are going to do? Lose to me. Because if he was just like, I can't beat them, man, I'm so tired, he would have lost. You can't go into it thinking, like, even on and that's one of the reasons why it's so important to increase this bad day spectrum. Because as soon as this bad day spectrum is up at a certain point, you say, even if it is a bad day, I can still beat this guy. That's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you need. And again, because like none of this is facts. All of this is mind stuff. This is what you think. Like, this is not like literally your skill level. This is not literally Apology Man's skill level.
No. This is just for like pure like hypothetical.
This is a mental exercise. Because if you've never thought of it this way, thinking of it this way might click for you.
Which honestly, it does. It's just frustrating because like I know I could like be that guy, right? I just have like shrimp brain.
Well, it's okay. And again, a lot of this comes with, again, the more tournaments you do. Because the more tournaments you do, the better results you get. Your confidence naturally increases with it. Your ability to keep good days going increases. Your skill increases because people fight differently in tournaments than they do on ladder or in friendlies. Like, it's all so different. And like, the more tournaments you play, the better all of this gets. Naturally. That's not the only way. You can just, again, if you just literally just find out whatever your happy place is, whatever makes your bad day a good day, you can manipulate this system without needing to wait for it to naturally occur.
Right, because
So it's like you can go to 1 or 2 majors and have this all down. And have this fixed without needing to go to like a dozen or several years or, all of that. And it all just comes down to figuring out how you want to deal with this problem. Because all this is I'm really just telling you what the problem is, but I can't fix it for you.
No, that's purely up to me. That's purely up to me. I have to.
Because that's all the mental game is. I can tell you any number of things, but you can't fix any of it without your own input, without taking it to heart, without finding your own solution, without, again, finding what works for you. Right? Like, and this is all overall stuff. This is, again, how to go to an event and beat players that are better than you, and how to dominate players that are worse than you.
Maybe I should like have like a shock collar. Whenever I get a bad thought, I press the button. Like, okay, be back in the zone.
I know some people do, like, was it the rubber band trick? You put a little rubber band on your wrist, and then every time you have something like that, you just snap it.
What the fuck? That's genius.
Yeah, you just like pull it up a little bit and just snap it on your wrist. I remember that was an old timey trick. Back, before internet stuff or whatever. I think people use their phones and stuff now, but
I kind of like that. I could probably get some rubber bands from work tomorrow somewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, if it also helps you, it's technically not necessarily a healthy way to go about it, but you could also treat it as sort of like taking your lashes, where you're like, oh, I just had a bad thing. Like, oh, I just lost. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to snap myself 5 times. And that pain is going to be my punishment.
Exactly.
And genuinely, it's again, it's not necessarily the most healthy. Again, pain does not, it's not healthy, but
no,
you will feel better. Because you'll feel like you basically atoned. You're just like, oh, I lost, but I took my licks. Well, like, even if it's something as small as, again, just a little bit of a rubber band snap on your wrist. Even if it's that small, your brain will be like, all right, well, cool, we moved past that. That's good.
Right. I guess it's like part of just like the reason why I kind of like the idea is that it's just kind of like a literal snap back into reality,
Oh, there goes gravity. Yeah.
Yeah. It got spaghetti vomit everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you feel like it'll work for you, give it a go, man. Again, whatever you can do.
I just don't think I have anything around my house right now, except for like, I guess like, I don't know, like elastic ponytail bands or whatever, but
yeah.
Actually, that'll work just fine. Hold on. Yeah, fuck it. I'll just use one of those. Because it's practically a rubber band.
Yeah. And, but yeah, so I mean, I think that's pretty much all I got to say about this type of mental gymnastics and mental idea and like categorization. Because if you can like master the way that you want to deal with this, again, this is a problem, you find your own solution. If you find your solution, you should never lose to players of less skill or equal skill.
Mm-hmm.
Because the players of equal skill often won't have mastered this.
Right. The person with the better mental usually comes on top.
Right. Again, you lose before you touch the controller. Because you can now suddenly get away from things because you're just like, yeah, I'm nice. They can't block this. And then you just go for it and they can't block it.
Block this overhead.
Right. Just saying, hey, hold this. And, acting like you won't get command grabbed. Like, that's entirely a confidence thing. So even if you are of equal skill to somebody, as long as you think you're going to come out on top, you have a better shot of coming out on top than they do. Because again, you're moving all, like, if it's like 5-5, you're moving your 5 wins before all 5 of theirs, right? So it suddenly becomes an unwinnable for them if they can't figure out how to do the same.
Right.
So again, here's the problem. Feel free to find your own solution, whatever helps you work. If it's got to be the rubber band, if you got to bring snacks to the tourney and eat your favorite snack, or drink your favorite drink, or get some casual sets with the homies,
drink my favorite drink.
Like, do all that, however you find your perfect solution, because my solution is very different from whatever your solution is going to end up being. And the same with anyone else who tries to tackle this particular thought experiment.
Right. And it's just a overall hard thing for most people to master,
Exactly.
which I realize. It's just like, damn it, I want to get there now.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, you don't have to wait to do all the majors if you just find your own solution. If you find a way to manipulate this, because it doesn't necessarily matter if your spectrum is like this big. If you can just say, oh, I'm able to manipulate it so that I'm always at minimum here. And then wouldn't you know it, once you've done that enough, like you could necessarily have like a truly, truly awful day and go all the way back down there. But in general, you've effectively just made your spread a lot more similar to like this Apology Man of one over here. Because you just know how to stay up in this spectrum of good day.
Right.
So you can like artificially increase it without needing to like naturally do it.
Inflating a market or something.
Yeah. Dude, invest in my crypto scam.
Oh, I will.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We're going to make some amount of money and then you will probably lose it all.
Hey, I'm all for losing money.
Hell yeah. But
same with my company, apparently.
But yeah, so absolutely. So that is pretty much what I had to really bring up to you about the mental state. Because again, like I said, you and Redeemer, you both have this confidence issue that comes with a lot of it is a lack of experience.
Right. And I like I said, I think for like a first year, like I think I'm like in pretty good shape. I just have to like keep at it, don't give up, and work on that damn fucking confidence.
Yeah. Well, and like we just mentioned, the mental block. Again, that comes with the confidence. Again, if you see a player and you say, I can't beat them, you can't beat them. That's a fact.
I know. Which
so
actually, like...
Because, again, you're absolutely good enough to fight Volteon and beat Volteon. You're absolutely good enough to fight Noah and beat Noah. Like, it's entirely a thing of you need to sit down and say, hey, today's the day I'm kicking their ass. And then make that day happen.
Yeah, make it come in.
You have to manifest it, right? It's not just gonna happen someday. You have to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what separates them high tier players from those who can't. And that's why, again, these players are able to hit such levels of consistency, because they will never lose to somebody who's worse than them, ever. And even most players who are of the same skill, they'll often never lose.
Right.
And then so suddenly you're on, winners top 48. And you're just like, damn, all right, here we go. And like you just through the nature of being unbeatable by those below you.
Exactly.
And then again, like using this, you can also beat players who are better than you. Regardless of this, good day, bad day system. Of like their side of it.
Weird, like mini RPS of sorts.
Yeah, kind of. Again, the player matchup is also a big deal, not just the character matchup.
Which is like something unique to like I want to say locals, because like you're around those guys all the time, and for people like Volt, like I've literally only taken one set off of him, and that is something that is just stuck on the mind every time we match up,
Yeah, and you got to let it go. You got to find inner peace. Wait, you got to take the losses on the chin and move on. Right? Like you can't let it, affect you for too long.
Right. I like the way you put it. Just stop. Just stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fact, like straight up. That's all you got to do. All right, so you want to watch you versus Collum?
Yeah. I think
I think it's time
going
to
over
get through that. We got a lot of the mental out of the way.
I think going through what we did is really like sets the stage for like I guess these next two these next two sets, because like truly like I was mainly losing that mental game.
Right, which is why
like,
I was totally happy to focus on that before we even saw the game. Right.
oh yeah, like I totally would have like got stumbled on my words and and what was it during this particular set, there were many points where I could just I don't know how to put it, but have you ever been in like some of those moments where you kind of like feel desperate and like your hands kind of get like tied in like a knot trying to do like inputs?
Yeah, that's that pressure.
Yeah, I was feeling like I was beefing hard.
You can like practically feel your heartbeat, like you're in it. Yeah,
I could feel my sins crawling on my back. What? Oh, okay. I think I'm pointing to the camera, saying like, "Oh, this is a button check."
Yeah. Yeah, I know that. I was just letting it roll while we finish our chats.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But no, and to be fair, you seemed fairly positive even on this supposed bad day. Going in again, you're trying to hype up. You're talking to the camera. That's good.
I was trying to like get the vibes up.
Oh,
and
there you go. There's the headphones.
Yeah, and mentally, I was just, on the outside, I was doing good. On the inside, not really.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was trying to activate myself.
Yeah, trying to turn it on, trying to flip that switch manually.
Yep.
Absolutely. And then looks like I assume you're just getting your music ready.
Yeah, so is Collum.
Oh yeah, both trying to get into the zone.
Me and the homies texting before our match.
Before we get into like actually genuinely review the game, how do you feel it went?
I feel I could have like done better, but there were some things that I felt I was like doing better than before.
Okay.
Mainly just like because like I won't lie, I did get perfected in like some of these rounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think one of them might even be like a double perfect. But
I think so. It's been a while now because you also speaking of the mental stuff, you took the losses pretty hard because you had us delay this until Thursday.
Yeah, part of it was just because like I just sorry, I cannot speak.
No, you're fine.
But no, part of it really is just like I guess just how bad my mental was like afterwards, because like I do not take loss, like I guess bad feeling losses very well, and that's just a me thing. And plus,
and like I was saying, one of the biggest things to learn is to just take a loss on the chin and keep going. Yep. And that's something that's very hard to get used to.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons, because I don't know if you remember, I tried to do the same thing with Redeemer that I was wanting to do with you, which was review it immediately. I was like, I would wanted to have done this on Monday while it's very fresh in your mind. And if you remember when he was at Frosty in the Discord and he went out, I was telling him to do it immediately. Don't wait. I know you're mad, but now's the time. And this is sort of something that both of you have to do, is because you can't ruminate on these losses like this. No. Because you will never win a tournament if a loss cuts you out for several days.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like if you're not able to like be ready to like game the next day or day after, you've got some work to do. Because again, you have to be able to take it on the chin. Because if you lose your first game, that means it's an auto lose the moment you go to losers.
Yep.
And so you need to be able to take your winner's side loss on the chin and just say, you know what? That's fine. I'll just climb through losers. and then beat the guy in losers bracket, because you have to be able to move past your loss immediately. You need, like, and I'm not saying like don't feel it, because feeling it is what gives you that energy, that drive to get better.
Right.
But you need to focus it, if that makes sense.
You-
Like,
be
if anything,
productive
if you
with
say,
it.
damn, I can't believe I lost that. And again, this comes with confidence. If you say, damn, I sat down, I was so sure I was going to win that, but I still lost somehow. You don't need to say, well, shit, maybe I'm not as good as I thought. No, stay thinking you're nice. Instead, say, well, I'm going to prove it by going through losers and making it there anyway. You need to take that energy of, damn, I didn't make it, and turn it into, I will make it, and I'll show you. And that's confidence. That's you saying, this was a fluke. I belong there, and I'm going to show you how I do that. Right? Because you need to direct that energy from that into not necessarily anger, but like focus and determination. Because if you take a loss, you need to say, this won't define me. I need to move past this. And I can use that energy from the loss as a buff in the next game.
I see.
Right? So that's technically really high level stuff. It's actually very hard to do that.
No, for real.
But
It's
but like
why,
that's like the ideal state. Is like you take a loss and say, you know what? That's BS. You know, I'm going to prove to them that I do belong there, and that loss was a fluke. And then you need that energy, because in order to get there from losers bracket, you have to fight twice as hard.
Right, because you have to just fight more
Right, so
matches.
you have to be able to take your loss and turn it into energy to get better. You need to turn that like the big dumpy from your loss and turn it into the fuel. Because I mean, like, you can use manure for fuel, right? You feel shitty, but you can just turn that around and burn it.
Oh, you're right.
So it's like you just gotta get there.
You know what? I think like next time, like if I have like a certain if I have like one of these days, right? Oh God, I need to like review it immediately. It's a skill I don't have down because
again, you can't gain the skill if you don't try it. That's why I was trying to get you and him to do it immediately. And I was like, it's okay. Well, we'll do that. We'll talk about it. But next time, like we do a review or something like this of your losses, I want to do it very fast.
Yeah,
and or I want you to be able to do it yourself immediately, and then we'll review together, as opposed to.
I am like actually very on board for that, because it's a skill I need to get down.
Right, and you can't get the skill if you don't practice it. Yeah. So you can't hone this skill if you're not using it or practicing it. So it's like, if you always wait several days after your loss, you're never going to make that loser's bracket comeback.
You're right.
And again, this also comes down to, like we mentioned, you're very susceptible to momentum. This is why. Because you take the loss, and it's sort of like every loss is a peg down.
Oh my God.
But you need to take every loss that is a peg down and say, you know what? No, that's not happening again. And then you fix it literally within the rounds. Like that is the speed you can get it to. Is you lose a round and immediately auto adjust your mental.
Okay.
Like, again, obviously we're trying to get you to do it like, per tournament, and then eventually maybe per set, and then maybe per game. But like the ideal perfect level of this skill is per round, even per interaction, where you say, I just got shit on by that mix. No way that's happening again. And you don't let that mix hit you again for the entire rest of the set. Right? Like this is that skill, and you need to like hone it down to as fast as you can make it.
I see.
All right, so back to the Chaos Faust matchup here. What are your round starts against Chaos specifically?
So, my round starts are like typically like 2P. Okay, generally 2P, which is the main thing. And I think like right away, I get punished. But there's a thing. I also have to like sometimes commit to a run up 2P, which you'll see later in like the set.
Okay. So why do you have to commit to a run up for 2P?
Well, technically, I don't even have to like commit at all. But with how my brain operates, I'm like, I have to hit him right now.
So you're putting a lot of weight on round start.
Yep.
Of like you have to start off on a good foot against Happy.
Yep.
Okay. Do you think that's sort of been one of the problems you've had with Happy? Is that you're putting so much weight on the beginning where, again, your mental, you say, oh, if I don't, I'm putting all this weight on round start, I have to win round start. And then you lose round start. And then suddenly you're thinking to yourself, ah, shit, this round is going so terribly. And now you've told yourself that you can't win.
Yeah, and in the moments when I am in, I go way overboard.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then so you're putting too much emphasis probably on like you have to be on top of him. Because you're also not necessarily a rushdown character. You have range. You're allowed to play mid-range footsies with Happy. Because you actually have range. So it's like you're not forced to do anything.
Really try to utilize.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing I was like really starting to like pick up on, and from what I was even like told from advice from Collum himself, was Far Slash and 2H are just inherently good buttons against him.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a Ram 5H. You just out there swinging, and like he actually can't get away with nearly as much as he'd want to.
Especially 2H, since like he doesn't have like a direct answer to it if it's like within like hitting distance.
Yep.
Like other than just like blocking it, right? But it's a very hard move to like I guess specifically call out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this time it looks like you went for the run up 2P and just got fucking counter hit.
Yep.
That's rough.
Sure
and then,
is.
From here you eat, the massive combo because you got gun flipped and now half your health is gone and you lost the round start. So.
Yep. And Happy isn't positive bonus.
Right. And then so you must be feeling pretty bad about it right now. So this round is probably unwinnable because of your mind being like, well, I already lost so much of this, it's whatever.
Yeah, and I tried to run in again.
Yep.
Oh my god, I'm just running in blindly.
And again, it's because you feel the absolute need to be in on chaos at all times. When it's like, you're not in as much danger in mid-range as like some other characters would be. So it's like, you are allowed to play footsies. Right? Like, you have to be X amount of tall to play footsies with chaos. And congratulations, you're in. So it's like, you don't put too much pressure on, I have to get in or I'm going to get overwhelmed. And don't put like, not enough that where you're just like, yeah, I'll just throw items from full screen, right? Like, you have to find a balance.
Well, items from full screen is just not something to do in the matchup.
Right, exactly.
Oh yeah,
so you just getting hit on wake up.
Yeah.
Just press close slash on you getting up. And again, a lot of the way this works, so you're extra susceptible to this in the Happy matchup because you feel like you have to be accomplishing something. So you're going to mash more often than not, which means you just get hit more often in this matchup.
Which is something I also struggle with like Chip, but that's for like a different discussion.
Right, because if you remember last VOD review, we did a bunch of Chip stuff, and I was saying, look at you get hit by this no mix motherfucker. You were just getting hit by mids, right? You were the people when the game came out were crying about Soul Bad Guy. Like,
honestly, I wasn't playing early, I guess actively enough at the time to really experience.
But it's like, you're just mashing and getting hit and then being like, oh, this is impossible. When it's like, you just need to play like you normally play, because you're putting too much pressure on yourself and like you're thinking of it too differently. Because you always you still got to play the same regardless of the matchup, unless you have to play differently, and then that's specific.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, oh, well, in the Chip matchup, we mentioned, hey, you should play neutral a bit differently. But does that mean you should start mashing on defense all the time? No. Like whatever part of the matchup is different because of the tools or the specifics of the characters. that's what changes. Everything else should just be your normal gameplay.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
you know, you shouldn't be getting hit by random mids just because you feel like the character is stronger, so you're scared. Or like
Yeah, or like I want to take back my turn right now.
Right. So you're like taking a lot of extra risks because you're like, well, I need the reward to win. When it's like, no, you can absolutely still play safe and smart and just do clean stuff. And then, you know, you get hit by the Shnasty mix. That one, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Happy Chaos do be Shnasty.
I can't block roll. That's on me.
Yeah. I mean, again, you can slowly train yourself to throw it like a Leo run through, but it's not necessarily even the best option. But it's one of those things. He's just a strong character. That happens. He does have a lot of strengths, but they're not unbeatable, is the thing.
Yep.
So you did another run up 2P. This time you managed to win it, and then you started a lot of pressure that didn't really go anywhere. Let's double
specifically
check this.
with the mix, like doing like raw mix like that is, I recognize, and I was thinking it to myself at the time, just a horrible thing to try, because done from the ground like that, that is a free punish 99% of the time.
Yeah.
And you need the meter to like back you up on that.
Yep. Yeah, and so the biggest thing here for you is as well, like, again, you feel the need to make something happen, so you're just doing stuff without hit confirming it.
Yeah.
Right? You're just like, oh, well, you shouldn't really be doing mix there unless, you know, you hit or something, you know, else good happens, all this. Because you'll just get punished. But you just kind of do it anyway because you're like, well, I need something to happen, so I'm just going to do it and hope that something does. Which means that you're saying, I'm not going to win unless my opponent loses. Right? Like.
Oh, you're right.
So if you're not playing good, you're basically saying, well, unless my opponent makes mistakes, I can't win. Which means that the control of the game is in your opponent's hands. So you just need to play like your normal game, play smart, do your normal hit confirms, your normal pressure, block like you normally would. You know, just make the minor adjustments that you need to for your gameplay, or major adjustments that the character may require. Okay, good. You get him in the corner. You throw a mini Faust, get a meaty, and you get a nice wall break. Okay, so how do you keep this rolling? You've got some meter. Chaos has meter.
Yep.
You guys go for a BRC fight. You get a hit. That's a burst. That's a win. Late bursts are always good. That's technically a hero burst. You just have to make it a hero burst. By just taking them down. And you're fishing for something here. So you're like, okay, well, they have like no health. And to be fair, this is how people make those like little minor momentum comebacks on like the hero bursts.
I noticed at the time he was out of bullets.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna challenge the hell out of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is one of those things where it's you don't want to be like, you still want to just play strong and play good, because if you start taking risks because you're like, oh, a single one means victory, but like, so does just doing the right thing, and like it'll just be victory slower, right? Like, and it's like you got 67 seconds on the clock. You're not under any time crunch. You're not going anywhere.
No, it's not like the game has to be finished in 30 seconds.
Right, and this is a lot of times how the hero burst works, is that somebody gets so, like, again, desperate to get that final hit that they start taking risks because they're just like, every touch is victory. So they'll just be like, oh, well, if you don't block this, you know, you die. Or if you don't mash here, you die. Or like, they'll just take these risks. And then the opponent guesses right every time. Or they know that you want it, so they know you're going to always take the risky option. Like, and then that's how those comebacks are made. And then like here, yeah, you're fishing, you know, you do your 2K and your FRC stuff, and you just jump after them, and then, you know, jump cancel. You're really fishing for it.
And I meant to actually like kill with what is it, jump 2K, and I accidentally jump canceled. That was a moment I distinctly remember my hands getting tied in a knot.
Yep.
So to speak.
All right, what was this round start? Looks like you lost it, but
Oh, I did far slash.
so walk back slightly, far slash, got absolutely destroyed by just 6H or was that 6S?
Yeah,
Whatever
that's
the push move is for Chaos. I don't know which one it is. But yeah, so he gets a wall break through, and then looks like you do a good one. You unfortunately corner yourself, but it didn't matter.
Then the throw incident.
And so this is something you gotta work on when you're in the Chaos specific matchup. The number one thing that you will just get more wins by doing is trying to dodge curse whenever you can. So it's like if you see a curse, just do like a minor jump.
Yep.
It's really that simple. And then you'll find that like, oh, this matchup's not that hard. I don't have to dash block as more like difficultly to get in. Because it's harder for his shots to track you when you're not cursed, if you're moving. So you can actually run at him a lot more freely if you're not cursed. So just like a single jump and nothing else. Like just, it's sort of like, because in Street Fighter, I would probably compare it to like neutral jumping fireballs, where instead of jumping in where your opponent can like anti-air you or something, you just jump in place and all you do is dodge the fireball. And that was what you did, and that's it. And that's a good play. And so it's like just a single jump to dodge curse is plenty. You don't even have to like use it to get in. You just dodge it. Because now you're saying you have to curse again, which is using up the Chaos's time. If he has to throw another curse, he's not shooting you.
I can just run in.
Yeah, he's not shooting you if he's throwing curse. So if he has to throw curse again, he's again not shooting you. And if he's not shooting you, well, you can move forward. You can make up some ground. So dodging curse is like very, very important in the matchup.
Did I get the 2H there?
Ooh, drop combo. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I tried to make like the best of it.
Mm-hmm. Now, why didn't you choose to kill here?
I tried to kill. And I fucked up the timing. I was trying to kill with... Because if you want to go for like max damage, like off of like a red RC,
yeah,
you have 6H into overhead scarecrow is about like so like from what I tested, the most damage you could get off of that.
Right.
But the safe bet is just to do like 5H into 6H.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're still doing plenty of damage, and you don't have to worry about, like, timing 6H to where, like, it will not hit in, like, the blind spot, which is what I was trying to avoid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I've lost sets over that before.
Yeah, and because, to be fair, even if you were going to go for, like, the 6H version, why'd you waste so much time? Because 6H hits high enough to hit him there, right?
Well, there is, like, a little blind spot there, and that is about, like, the specific height where it whiffs.
Right.
And that's just a me thing from getting scarred. But no, 5H into 6H would have absolutely killed, because I also forget.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Chaos has, like, no health.
Yeah, his guts is pretty bad.
Yep.
like that would have killed him. Like, any hit into wall break hit would have killed.
Yep.
Like, any of them. Like, except maybe, like, 5P into 5P wall break. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, just press your heavy button.
Uh-huh.
Again, the optimal combo doesn't matter if your opponent has 1 HP, right?
Right. It's more about, like, what's easier.
Yeah, just do what you got to do. So you still got it, and you managed to get the burst out of it, so overall, still kind of a win.
Yeah. And I kind of, like, realized, like, that, like, oh, yeah, we take those.
Yep, and once again, you're trying to force it in.
Yeah, no, I am, and this is one of those things, you cannot be this risky with, like, dive kick or mix without meter.
Right. And
it's a nasty habit of mine, especially when I feel I have to get in.
Right.
It's like, I kind of go into, like, dive kick mode.
Yeah. And remember last week how I said anytime somebody reeks of desperation, that's an Achilles heel that you can, like, kind of come after. And, like, the same goes for you. Like, simply sitting down across chaos has made you desperate.
Yep.
So it's like, again, a lot of this, again, the reason I wanted to focus so hard on the mental game for this one is because I don't really have many notes that aren't related to the mental game for you here.
Oh no, it is. It is.
Because
I just
the reason you're losing to Collum is not because the matchup's bad or because you're bad at the matchup. It's because you're playing too different against him because he's Happy Chaos.
well, and on top of that, I like I just want to a bit like take that game off, right? Kind of like how I have that same feeling with like Voltion or people like that, right?
Yep. Absolutely. So again, you start the rounds reeking of desperation in the winner's bracket. And then that's kind of it against a good player.
Yep. And honest to God, I kind of like put Chip on that same level of like chaos on like terms of like where I show my desperation, right? Because like,
right,
that man is just too fast.
Yeah. Well, and I've mentioned this briefly in passing with others. I don't know if I've mentioned it with you. So I've talked about the way that grapplers will feel if you want to play them in a tournament setting, which is that you are always losing until the moment you win.
Oh, you're right.
And then so you need to be like have the mindset to be capable of playing and be patient without getting desperate. Because if you're always like losing, you're going to think to yourself, I need to make something happen. But you need to take yourself out of it, have the mental fortitude to say, no, my time will come. I need only wait for it to arrive.
Yep.
And that's what you have to do as a grappler in a tournament. Because again, you're always going to be losing until that moment that you get Potbuster into mix-up and then they get Potbustered twice and they lose.
Yeah, because then it's party time.
Right. And then so like, but like you have like no health because you've been blocking the whole round, these insane mix-ups, you've been getting hit, like you've been thrown, but then you see your opportunity and you need to be like able to strike it. And you don't need to be desperate. You just need to wait for it to arrive. So it's like, you're going to get in on chaos eventually. You don't have to rush it. You have range. You can, right. You need to be happy to be like, yeah, I can play footsies. We're in my range. That's absolutely fine. We both can hit each other from here. So you don't have to be on top of him. Right. Like you don't have to make something happen. So like it's, again, the grappler one is the extreme example, but this one is sort of like a you thing where it's like against Happy Chaos, you feel like you are always losing. So you have to make something happen, but you need to like let yourself have the mental fortitude to say, nah, it'll come. As long as I play strong, play safe, play smart, I'll have my opportunity. Mm-hmm. So you just do your normal stuff and then you'll get in eventually, because eventually everybody folds to this type of offense, right? Like eventually everybody gets hit by your Faust pressure. Or they get like, oh, there's a mini Faust now and they don't know the item interaction, or like something happens and you will find that as long as you let the game go long enough to do that. But if you're rushing in, you're also speeding up the game to the point where you may not find your opportunity.
Right. I'm just kind of like effectively tightening my window.
Right. So you're making the window tighter, which is also increasing the pressure again. Right. So then you're even more desperate. It's like you're artificially creating your own desperation. So it's like, again, you just need to sit down and be like, hey, Chaos is just another character in the game. I know that he's strong, but he's not unbeatable. People can beat him, right? Like,
yeah, he has weaknesses.
Right. It's
like what Twitter say.
Yeah. Well, don't listen to Twitter. Never listen to Twitter. But yeah, so it's like you can find your moment. You can find your opportunity. You can slug it out with him if that's what it takes. But just don't feel like you have to make something happen. Just be patient and play like normal. And then just be ready to, if you spot it, be ready to take your opportunity. Don't let it slip. Mom's spaghetti.
True. Yeah, I'm kind of getting all juggled up here.
Yep. The big chaos corner to corner. That's the classic. Reloads bullets because they needed to. scrambling 2K. And that's another thing, again, whenever you put this type of, like, I need to make something happen on yourself, you create scrambles where there aren't any.
No,
right? Where, like, you're scrambling and your opponent's just like, what's he doing?
Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, and then, like, they just, like, whiff punish you because you're scrambling.
True.
And so, like, that's just another little brief aside, but, like, you know, just do your normal thing. Don't get too intimidated. Don't feel the need to make it happen right now. You have a whole 90 seconds to work with. All right, you got that one. You got first game. That's good shit. Or second game.
I took that weight immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, I'm, like, bothered.
Yep. And see, this is the thing. It's like you won, and then look at you and your mental state. You're just like, I won that. And then you're like, oh, bro, fuck.
Look at that stupid idiot.
Right. And it's just like, bro, you won. Now, like, there's nothing wrong with, like, you know, taking a breather in between and be like, oh, that was hard. But, you know.
But no, I was like kind of doing the mini pop-off, as you're saying. Mm-hmm. And I actually do recall, like, keeping it, like, pretty competitive for, like, the rest of the set. I just...
Mm-hmm. It wasn't like a wash for the rest of the set.
No, it absolutely was not a wash.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's where I lost the set mentally.
Oh.
So, spoiler alert. I wall break with super. It didn't kill. Then I try to do a run up 5D. I lose this round.
Yeah.
And then I'm, like, fuming because, like, oh my god, I just blew this lead.
And you know what happened there? You wanted to make it end. You wanted to make it happen. You were forcing it.
I know.
Why else would you run up 5D? What does that do if not say, I want this to end now, please just don't block high?
Yep.
And you're, like, all in. You're, like, in poker, and you've got, like, a mediocre hand, and you're like, you know what? This is my time. And you just, like, all in, hoping that they fold.
Yep.
And it's like...
instead, I am the one who folds.
Right. And it's just like, they're just like, yeah, I have, like, a better pair than you. And you're just like, what? That's not even good. Why'd you stay in? I all in. And it's like, well, because I didn't think you had it. Like, and, you know, it's again, it's the mental game you're losing here. It's not chaos. It's not necessarily even Collum.
No.
Because you're forcing interactions, which, again, like I said, that's the number one thing that people try to do when they're losing. And that's how you'll pretty much always beat players that are worse than you, is just because, well, they're like, oh shit, he's so good, I have to try and do something. And then you're just, like, swinging, and then they die. And then so you're trying to just force these interactions, because if you'd have just, like, run up and just done normal meaty pressure, you have meter and positive bonus. Remember how we were saying, like, nobody can block it forever?
Yep. People will fold eventually.
Right. You just won that round if you'd have just played like you normally do.
Yeah.
But because you're like, no, chaos must be taken down. We must kill chaos.
I have come to kill chaos.
Right. And then so, you know, just play like you normally do. Just do your normal shit, because it's good shit.
Don't be a psychopath.
Yeah. Like, unless you're literally intentionally trying to random them out, then keep it up. Then just play like normal. But I guess, to be fair, if you're one of the random them out type of players, you're already playing normal, because that is how you normally play. You're a psychopath. All right. Yeah, so you do end up losing this round, huh? Yep, there's the final one. And you spend burst on it. That is another one of those things that you have to be very careful of. It is so tempting when a player is like, oh, they're making a momentous comeback, and then, like, I don't even know what to call it, like a reverse hero burst, if that makes sense.
Yep. Where
you're like, I've gone too far, this is too much, I need to stop them. It's the defensive version of, I need to force this interaction. Yeah. Where it's like, I can't let them kill me. I've done so much work and I have to finish this out round. It's the sunk cost fallacy. So you make yourself try to get something done, and then you burst, and then you're just like, ah, shit, and then you'd like lose because you don't have burst for the next, the next bit. But so that's another one that it's like, again, you have to gain some amount of mental fortitude against this type of thing, where it's like, I may be losing, but that means that I shouldn't like spend my burst in a weird way or do anything like that. You just need to be greedy, right?
Oh, then I get back thrown. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then he wins that one, and then almost certainly that one felt really bad for you.
It did, because like I've screwed up my meaty, and also lost like a huge lead.
Yep.
And
Yep. And again, you forced an interaction, and then you just lost 2 rounds off of that one mistake, and that's momentum. And so you're feeling it, because now not only is Collum on chaos, who you already felt like you had to make something happen. Now you're also down in rounds against somebody who just like really hardly 2-0'd you.
Yep.
In those rounds. And so now you're going to be extra desperate.
Which is where it becomes like,
yeah, and then look how easily you just got washed this round specifically, because you're coming off of that loss, and like you are trying to force everything. You're forcing offense to get in. You're forcing neutral. You're like, I don't want to be here. You're forcing your defensive options by saying, I don't want to have to block. I need to be attacking to win. Like,
yep.
Again, you're just swinging. You're just like jump jump
like no near anything.
Yeah, you're just swinging, and it's almost certainly not preemptive strikes, as the Lord Krakatoa would say in his delightful video breaking down Machabo's article.
Me going off.
Right, it's just you're effectively, again, you're creating a scramble where there is none, because you're just like, I need to swing. This is crazy. But it's not crazy. It's just normal gameplay. You just calm down. And something I would actually mention is, speaking of momentum stuff, you could have just gone back to character select screen briefly.
I could have, and it's something I know a lot of players do, just in general.
If you need a breather, do it. If you get like 2-0'd, like again, you do like an almost victory, and then you just get a quick back-to-back momentum swing, take a breather. Just go back to the character select and go.
And I need more than just like that quick little like in between like I had.
Yeah, because you did take a little breather, but you can go all the way back to character select for a breather. You can take like a whole minute, like a minute and a half. Like 2 minutes is probably pushing it for tournament type stuff, but like you can take a minute, and like go back to character screen and chill out, take some deep breaths, and do all that. And do you know what that does? So it helps you reset your mental, obviously. It helps you calm down from that immediate loss.
Yep.
It also breaks your opponent's momentum. Because if they do it all back to back, they're feeling themselves. And so...
Oh, you're right.
So it's like, Collum just did that. And then if you'd have gone back to character screen, they come down from their little high too. So not only are you letting yourself climb back up, you're also letting them calm down.
So it's just kind of like a collective calm down.
Right, it's kind of just like a reasonable reset. Some players, it takes them a lot more to calm down. They'll just keep feeling nice. So it doesn't work all the time, but like it helps you anyway, and it could, depending on the player, also hinder them. Again, I'm not saying like stall, but just like take your breather. And then you never know, maybe that breather also halts their momentum. Depends on the person.
Yep. I follow.
But, yep, so it's never a bad idea. Take your breather. Getting swung. You're making stuff happen using your 5D on the bomb. Get bombed yourself.
Yeah.
But worked out. All according to Kaikaku. So I think, from what I've seen, it looked like you've done this, like, run up 2P or whatever, like, almost every round start.
It's like I
that was just a mental thing going into it because I was really really not wanting my 2P to get whiff punished, which is just an unfortunate thing with like fast 2P specifically, because like it can and I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, and do you remember last week how we were talking about what you should do on round start against Chip? How you could just walk back and then see what he's doing, and if it was the thing you were ready for, you got him. You are choosing a preemptive round start against Happy because you feel like you have to do something.
Yeah.
But like walk back and see what he does is completely fine. That is like walk back, see what they do is the safest round start in all of Strive. Every character can do this too, by the way.
Yep. And it's something he is just actively doing.
Right, and that's what Collum's doing. Because Collum is just like, I'm just going to walk back. Oh, Pip is swinging 2P. Let me just 2S and then get a combo. Yeah. And that's why you've lost like every round start is because Collum is just like, well, I'm just going to walk back and then react. And then they're like expecting you to 2P and you always 2P.
Yep.
And so it's not even necessarily that it's like 2P is necessarily a bad round start here. It's just that fact that you're not doing anything different. Because again, even just like walking back or blocking on round start, or even like just dash blocking, or you just like run in but block to like keep that distance close. That can be a good start. And you're not actually doing anything. All you're doing is just saying, I'm not engaging first. But it leaves you the option to like whiff punish or do something interesting. So it's like you're just not changing your round starts here against Happy. And so you're just getting punished on that.
Oh, there's me doing the mix thing. Yep.
Getting corner pressured by Chaos. It'd be like that. Good mash out of the stagger. Yep. Yeah, and because it's looking like dodging the curse isn't even on your radar.
No, it's not. It's not.
Because it's like, I don't think I've seen you take a single move to like try not to. And then, yeah. The big energy spike that you felt from the loss. Immediate stand up and hug the opponent.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, fuck. And then like, again, that's the type of energy you want to redirect to saying, nah, I'm gonna prove it next time.
Exactly.
Because you do have that energy spike, and that's, that sadness, that rage, that whatever it happens to be. Like you're going to get a flood of emotion in some way or another. You just got to focus it.
And I was trying my best just to try to stay positive, right?
And so what did you do between these specific games?
Honestly,
did you just sit down and watch the rest, or
my next match?
Sorry, what was it?
Like a time.
Sorry, you were cutting out in Discord there. What'd you say?
Sorry, I was just generally just waiting for my next match.
You're just standing around waiting, not really doing anything specific.
Yeah, I wasn't really even like talking it up with people. I was just kind of like just observing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of no wonder you didn't, reset or anything.
No,
especially if it's already a bad day. I mean, just go talk with some people. Again, just go commiserate with your loss.
Yeah.
Even if it's just sitting down and talking to, I don't know, whoever Joe Schmo is sitting next to you, spectating and being like, "Oh my God," this like talking about the match. Just something
I was
that can
mainly talking up with a green while I was there. Just about like Fire Emblem and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And again, just whoever you bring with you, whoever your homies are, just go chat with them between rounds. Because the longer you're just sitting there ruminating on your loss, the worse it is.
It's funny because like when I'm having like a good day, like I chat it up like almost immediately after.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I'm on a bad day, I am much more likely just to like reminisce, which is horrible.
And that's one of those things where it's like making yourself do good day things even on a bad day will genuinely cheer you up.
I know.
It's like you just kind of it's like some days you may not feel like brushing your teeth or taking a shower, but you should do those things. So it's important to know that like I should just make myself do this, and then you'll be better off for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, my mental going into this set was just
Yeah, like
not there.
I think you'd actually probably see me in chat. I was just like, no, Pip already, like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I tuned in live because I was like, oh, I finished my stream, and they haven't done top 8 yet, or top what was it, 24, 48, whatever the top was. They hadn't done that yet, so I just wanted to tune in. And we were cheering for you. We had a little cheering section in the chat for you.
Oh yeah, let's go. I had some people also cheering me in the crowd.
Yeah.
I just couldn't pull through today because, like.
Well, to be fair, you are the best Faust. Remember.
Oh, true.
True facts, spitting.
For real, for real.
For real, for real.
Oh, and I'm not sure if you noticed, but anytime I was up, I was always switching it to just because I like to be evil, to like the pop songs, like
yeah, the songs a lot of players find annoying.
Yeah. And a little button check here.
Yeah, and so the next question is, do you put on headphones for the Purp match?
I did not. In hindsight, I should have, because I knew I was like not entirely like in a great mood going into it, because like I was the last set before top 8.
Yeah, well, because like we said, you entered this match with like already tilted. And the idea that like
I was feeling it.
Yeah, and like the idea that it's like, well, we literally talked about, hey, if you're tilted or you're feeling so like not on your game, put on your headphones and do that. And then you just kind of like knew you were tilted and just chose not to anyway, right? And a big part of that is even likely, again, you were just ruminating too long.
I was, and I wasn't even really upset about like losing to Purp specifically, because he's a good player.
No, yeah, completely solid May play.
And I guess just my thing is like, because like he has beat me before, like it's something I'm not like unused to. I was just I guess just really getting hard on myself for like missing top 8 to begin with, right? Because like that was just like the minimum of what I wanted to do for the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just was I don't know how to put it, but just devastated, I guess, in a way, right?
I see. Yeah. Well, and that's another thing. Again, you take a huge hit on your confidence and you can't recover yet. It takes you some time.
Yeah, I know, which is something I just no way around. I just have to just suck it up.
Yeah. Again, you just have to take them on the chin, and that's something you have to do if you want to become a top player. Is you have to be able to do this.
It's like if I can't do that like within like the span of like, or like if I'm unwilling to look at VODs like the next day, right?
Right. Like if you're not willing to like the day after you've slept and eaten some meals and done all that, if you still can't look at it, that's a problem. If you're trying to be good.
Yep. And from what I've heard, well, I mean, like it's a great thing I'm like doing this now, but like VOD reviews is like, well, like almost like all of like the top guys just do.
Yeah.
To evaluate.
It's valuable.
It's very valuable.
And granted, it is better late than never. Like at least you're doing them. Right? At least you have like, not like humbled yourself, but you've taken it and been like, you know what, I need this done, and so you've reached out, and that's good. Like that's a very good thing.
I won't lie, I am going to like kind of like look away once we get to like the end of the set, just out of like shame, because like,
well, and like I said, there's not really too much to tell you about the matches themselves.
No, there's not, because like honestly, I know the main matchup. I've played it.
Yeah, I was like, you played May. Like, you used to do that.
Like not only did I used to play May, not only do I play May in like bracket every week, not only do we have like 2 great Mays in our scene that I play constantly, like it's absolutely not a matchup thing, because like I know what to do and I feel comfortable in it. I was just not there mentally at all.
And that was exactly what I wanted to point out, is it's like, this is how I knew it wasn't matchup related. Because you playing against May here looked the same as you playing against Chaos.
It literally did.
And those matchups are not likely even close to the same.
You want to know something I know I wasn't doing in this matchup, which is key? I wasn't 6Ping at all.
Right, and that's very strong.
Especially since it, like, neuters most of May's, like, things.
Yeah. So you managed to start out pretty well, if I remember right. The first round you managed to start playing, like keep playing like relatively normal. But at this point, it's kind of like a shamble, where you're just like, ah, yeah, I can do this. And then like the moment something goes wrong, you're just like, wait, no, that's right, I can't. It's sort of like you're trying to forget the tilt you're on. But like the moment something goes wrong, you immediately remember it.
Mm-hmm. And I won't lie, this entire set, I was getting like the cheapest items ever against Purp.
Yeah, you were getting some godlike item throws.
Yeah, the meteors I was throwing against him was insane.
Yep. Oh, you did the thing that I remember we talked about last week.
Go back. Oh, item toss burst. Yeah.
So why did you burst here? Because you're in the corner against May, and she's like fucking you up. So then you burst, and you spend the time staying in the corner.
You know, in most scenarios, I would not have. Because like May has the life lead up the wazoo right now.
Yep.
There is literally no reason to.
Yeah. So because like you pretty much waste your burst if you don't use it for its intended purpose, which in this case was to get out of the corner.
It's like against May, like she really is a character you really want to like save it against too. Just because like when she gets like the big hits in, it's just it's over.
Mm-hmm.
If
she deals launch soul damage, you know.
Oh, she
off
does.
of every hit. She's just like, let me just deal like half your health. And then
she's
some hits she'll deal your whole health. It's good.
I think that's like the one time I 6P'd.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I believe I made like a chat comment here soon, but you start immediately playing scared.
Oh, I was.
So you're like, okay, here, you're doing corner stuff, and then you get challenged once, and you literally back yourself all the way to the other corner. So you're like, oh shit, I can't be swinging. May checked me. May challenged me. And then you're like, okay, all right, well, hold on, let me just backdash. Okay, we'll keep walking back. Okay, we're walking back. Okay, I'll do a little bit of poking, and then we'll move in a little bit. Okay, all right, okay, now we can engage. Like, and
no, it was.
Yeah.
It was getting worse, like going down to like the last like few sets too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, because again, this was the point where I was saying, I was like, in the first game, I could immediately tell. I was like, oh shit, something's definitely up with your mental in this one. And again, you're just playing scared, like, and you know, to be fair, for good reason, May will just kill you.
Oh yeah, then I missed the gold burst.
Yep. Which again, a lot of times, again, why do players gold burst? They're trying to make something happen. Because a lot of times it's not just like, well, this burst is going to be useless, I might as well try something. But it's oftentimes just like, oh, I need to, you know, make this worthwhile or something like that. That's often the case, but.
And I could have killed there. I was just
scrambling.
Well, I mean, just kind of on autopilot as well, because like, you know, whenever I land like a 2K, you have plenty of time to like react, right? It's a multi-hit.
Oh, absolutely.
Like 2K into 6P would have killed, because I could have gotten like mix or something. Oh, then I have the exact same back throw that happened against Collum, where I throw like a trumpet. Then I throw another trumpet immediately after.
Yeah. Oh, and then you get Meteor 100 ton though. And mini Faust,
like I said, like my items are fucked up.
Yeah. Oh, and then another Meteor. Yeah. I mean, you had good items, so this one was all on you.
No, it was. It was. Then I could have killed with a meter there.
Mm-hmm. And again, you're so scared. All you're doing is walking back, like challenging or trying to hold ground has not crossed your mind.
No. The amount of times I have backdashed in this one round.
Or even that one time, you were literally just holding back, not down back of like, I just want to block. You were holding back as in, I want to stay the fuck away from you.
God, I don't even look at the in-betweens. I am so embarrassed.
Oh yeah, there's my comment. I'm like, oh no, Pip is scared. Be brave, my son. But yeah, so again, like
there's another me, bro.
Yeah. And then you're doing we're mashing snip on hit.
Okay, I'll be honest, that's a byproduct of me playing the maze I've played online.
Yeah.
Because they almost always go for I gotta remember, just don't do it. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's
you really don't have a reason to do it, so.
No, I was just wanting to like punish outright.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, then I
air
died.
Thrown. Yep.
Yep.
And then there you are. You're tilting out visibly now. It is visible on your face and by your body language that you are tilting out. So if I'm Purp here, I'm going to play normal. I'm going to keep swinging. I'm going to play smart. I'm going to play safe. And that is exactly what Purp does. Purp is not approaching needlessly. Purp is not desperate to get anything done because he knows that you're the desperate one here.
Uh-huh.
Even though like you might be favored, he can now recognize that he's the player at advantage. And then so he notices like, okay, well, I'll just do normal May stuff. I'm not going to, go crazy. Like he just, 5K jump cancel to stay safe. He's, it hit, but that's fine.
Like getting hit by like May mix. I'm just getting hit because I'm.
And like I said, the moment you're desperate to make something happen, you're just getting hit by mids.
Uh-huh.
There's no mix of any kind. You're not getting thrown. You're just getting hit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, you got that round. Nice. I remember I was saying, I was like, okay, well, here's a good, like, a momentum break if you can keep it up. But you end up still playing very, very passive. So you kind of just, because again, it's one of those things where it's like, it's important to keep up momentum if you gain it.
Uh-huh. I'm just, I think part of it is, like, I'm just, like, not properly just playing neutral as I should be.
Well, and like I said, you're just not playing the way you normally do.
No.
And it's because you're overcome by emotions in one way or another. Whether you're scared, you're desperate, you feel disadvantaged, you're angry, you're tilted, whatever it is, something is happening and you're not playing like normal. And that's one of the, again, like I mentioned earlier with the good players are able to turn that into autopilot so that your current emotion is irrelevant. Your hands will just do what they will. And so you can still beat players even if you are tilted, or even if, some amount of skill gap happens or all this. So everything's like that. And then, and then you managed to win that game, which is cool. Good, again, a good momentum break.
Yep. Then I lose this game here.
Yep.
I'm just bracing for it. Because, like, I am genuinely embarrassed.
Yeah. There's another comment of mine. Good job, Pip. Swing the momentum back. And then, so some of the people in the chat are like, the turnaround? Is it time? Everyone was just like, momentum swing in Pip's favor now? But ended up not being the case for that one.
Not this.
The 5D. But yeah, and see, so in this game, you guys started to play a lot more normal for both of you.
I guess for me, it was just like too little too late.
Yeah.
Right?
Because again, you broke the momentum, so you don't feel as desperate or scared anymore. Right?
Uh-huh.
So you're just like, okay, I broke the momentum, and you won a round. So you're feeling pretty okay right now. Because you're right now, again, you're a big roller coaster. You're a lot of ups and a lot of downs.
Yep.
And then so it's like, in like a per round or per game basis, you're swinging up and down on the scale.
Mm-hmm. Then this round hits, and I'm really feeling it. This is when the desperation comes.
Yep. And then
back.
you immediately, again, you lost a round and you're back. Again, like you can do it for like a round or two where you're like, yeah, I remember, I'm nice. And then like something goes wrong, and then it's immediately back to, nah, I'm losing today. That sucks. Like
Lose disadvantage once, day ruined.
right, like exactly. All right, and then this doesn't kill if I remember right.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, the super wall break doesn't kill, so there's a sliver. You just go for love, and then you're just holding back. Which, to be honest, is not... Oh, yeah. That's right. You got hit by the Arisagawa Sparkle Peach Ball shenanigans on the turnaround. And then fucking exploded, yeah.
Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. Did I fist bump him from off camera?
Yeah, and then I hit him with the Rip Gaming in chat. But
yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, like, that's a tough loss. I think I mentioned it, but like that's a tough one because there's no way you can prepare for this scenario. So you lost on a scramble.
I did. One I didn't really even need to
I would like to point out that there's no shame in a loss on a scramble. Because by their very nature, scrambles are this way. You can become better at scrambling, but you never want to take a loss scrambling too bad. It's like if you do like a gotcha roll or like doing like slots gambling. Like it's just how it is. Like you're gonna lose sometimes, and like you just can't take those ones to heart. Right. So it's like this one's a tough loss, and like it feels really bad in the moment, but you just move past it and be like, nothing I could have really done. How was I supposed to know how the beach ball works when I scarecrow from full screen PRC in? Like when it's like frame 1 and like all these RCs and meter spending, like there's no way to know, right?
No.
And you can't hold yourself accountable for that one. So it's like, you can say, oh, well, I just need to, like, there's no labbing or anything that's going to help with that. Scrambles are scrambles.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to happen whether you like it or not.
And then, Purp gets his, rightfully so, pop off because you're strong, and the fact that he managed to take it out must feel really good.
Yep.
And then you're devastated.
I am.
Yeah.
I just was not... And like I said, It wasn't even like losing to who I did. I just really,
like I said, it didn't even have to be Purp there. It could have been most, like, not anybody, but several people.
God, with my mental going on, like I was going to lose to anyone.
Yeah, you would have needed an easy one, which, to be honest, was not going to happen at that level of like top 8. Like qualifier match. So you're not going to get an easy one there. And again, that's why you need to be able to turn that into fuel to feel better.
Yep.
Because, oh no, stop it. Okay, there we go. We're back on the screen. Because it's always going to be hard. It's never going to be easy. It's like, if you come out of winner's bracket, it's hard. It doesn't matter how early or how late you enter like loser's bracket. It's going to be hard, and you need to be able to take the loss and say that's not going to happen again for the rest of today, because you now have to win 10 matches in a row. So you need to get your morale to a level that you're capable of doing that.
Right, and I think a lot of that is just trying to just talk more positive and in general.
Talk more positive. Literally, just seek out wherever your friends are, especially because like if you ever go to an event with your friends, it is expected. Like, I would be super sad or disappointed in any of my friends if we go to an event together and they are like totally like assholes about us trying to commiserate losses or talk about like how we're doing.
Yeah.
Because if I like lost like that and like against like Collum and like had gone to my friends and been like, damn, bro, I can't believe I lost like that. And then my friend who's 0-2 is super salty and it's like, I don't want to fucking hear it. Okay, listen, dude, I got wiped and like all this shit. That's fucked up. Okay, that's not the kind of person you want to be going with. You want to go with the person that's like, damn, bro, I saw that. That shit was tough. I can't believe it. So like, and then like they'll shoot the shit with you. So it's like always go to your friends and
I
like
think I do very well too.
yeah,
Right?
and so like always go to your friends. Like even if like somebody's busy and like this is the same thing where it's like instead of saying, "Oh, well I went 0-2, fuck you," they could just be like, "I'm trying to play in a game right now." And like they're just playing, casuals or somewhere else. And then so
Yeah.
like they might just not want to talk with you. And like that's bad form. Again, like you go as a group for a reason, not just to save money on like carpool and stuff, right? Because
Just to also have, like the support of the homies, you know?
yeah, because you need the homie support. Morale is so important at tournaments. That's why it's
Mhm.
always better to go with a group than it is to drive alone somewhere.
Uh-huh. Which I totally agree with, because like
Yeah.
what is it? I think part of the reason why like I was able to like I guess just feel myself as much as I did is just because like I mean we showed up like a day early
Hmm.
just to like get kind of get settled in, maybe like shoot
Yeah.
the shit.
Yeah, for sure.
But like it was also just to like okay, establish we are here now. And this, no way, no how about it. You've been waiting for this moment. You are going to make this the best weekend you've had in a minute.
Yeah.
And I made sure to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that also comes with taking the losses on the chin and moving on. Just because you flunk out of a tournament doesn't mean your weekend is ruined.
Oh, no, it's not.
Like the fact that it's like, oh well, I lost out. Even if you got 0-2 and washed, and you were expecting to go like 4-2 or like really do well, and you get washed, you need to have the mentality, because I call it, for example, the milkshake bracket. And this comes from card game stuff. So the milkshake bracket is going 0-2, and you know what that means for you is you now have time to go get a milkshake.
You're right. Which
So
is
hey,
perfect
I
timing.
lost at the tournament, but you know what? I get a free milkshake, or not free, but I get to go get a milkshake now. Ain't that sick, dude? I get to have a milkshake today. Like,
Plus, it's Colorado. There's got to be like, I love my milkshakes. Right? There's got to be like something good around,
oh, 100%. In there, it absolutely is in Denver.
Oh, for
I
sure.
can tell you that for a fact. But but no, yeah.
I
Like again,
need
it's
to
just you got to
go
think of
through
it
that.
positively,
Hmm.
because you can't let them get you down for too long. You can't, I'll just keep saying it over and over, and hope it sinks in. It's just you got to take the losses on the chin, and just move on.
Well, it's phrasing it like that really does help me a lot. And like honestly, like, it's true. I just gotta like just learn just to take it, move on. Next thing coming up, and do not mope on it. That is something I was just doing, and a lot of it was because it's just work putting me down to begin with. Which, you know what? That's also just an excuse. I gotta fucking
That's
stop.
a shield, because at the end of the day, it's always you. It's still you.
Because I choose to be upset over it.
Yeah.
Because like, people have bad days all the time. Or at work. Everyone hates work.
Yeah.
It's just what you choose, how you choose to act about it afterwards.
Right. And that's exactly what I always say, where it's just like one of the best reasons to like train yourself, like, and increase your lower level of like the on a bad day I play like this. The best reason to do it is because a tournament will always be a bad day. You are incredibly lucky if a tournament's a good day. Because again, you're jet lagged. You're in a place you've never been. You're uncomfortable. Some guy like in front, like farted in front of you in the elevator. Like something always happens.
Yep.
And you have to take that on the chin too. Right? And that's how you can keep your good day going. Like if you can feed on the hype of the event, and that can really cover a lot of the shit that you have to put up with on a big trip.
There's a lot of bases, a lot of ground.
Yes. Because like, for example, every single pro is dealing with the exact same amount of bad day that you are. And they're still up there. So at the end of the day, you just got to get it done. They had a bad day at work the day before. Their flight was canceled or late. They slept past their alarm. They did any number of things. Everything is going wrong at all times. So everyone is fighting that at a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, the easiest way to increase that is to force yourself to play on bad days.
Yep.
If you get home from work and you say, damn, today fucking sucks, I hate this shit, the last thing you want to do is go on ladder and lose games.
Yep.
But you know what that's going to help you do is hone your skill of playing on a bad day.
Yep, because like if I'm gonna have a bad day like at home, what's to say like I'm gonna be prepared when I have a bad day when I'm like there, right?
Right. Because, like, again, on a trip, it could become really bad because you're also in a place that's, like, there's no safety nets. You're just at somewhere. Your car could literally break while you're, like, in a whole other state. And, like, that's a pretty bad fucking day. So it's like, you can absolutely have terrible shit happen, but you have to, like, grow a thick skin, if that makes sense. Of it,
No,
I mean, was it like get an umbrella, let the rain fall off of you, get a raincoat, whatever analogy works for you?
It does.
Let it all roll off. But yeah, so 100%. And so obviously, so we've now done 2 VOD reviews with a ton of information.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So obviously, you can't work on everything at once. That's just not how it works. But I would like to check with you, what is your priority list? So, like, say, what are the first 3 things that you want first, that you're going to, like, make an effort to work on? So, like, what, like, you have so much stuff that you're just like, oh, I got this and this, and, like, but you need to prioritize. What do you think you should do first? Like, what do you want to do first?
I think the biggest thing for me is I just have to, like, as we just discussed this whole time, it's just keeping my wellness in check,
Mm-hmm.
And recognize when I'm like getting on tilt and just trying to like alleviate ways or just find ways to like hone that energy to something more
So
positive.
your first priority right now is going to be trying to basically game the system, like I was telling you earlier. Like you're trying to find your solution to that, like your personal solution.
Like I said, I'm earlier. I'm actually gonna try that rubber band trick.
Yeah, give it a shot. If it works, then hell yeah.
It's yeah, it's like a silly little thing, right? But I guess it's just like one of those things, like just kind of like a sudden like jolt back in action. Like, okay, remember, refocus, reconcentrate, get back in it.
Damn, you could say I've jolted you back to action.
I get it. I get it.
That's good for branding. That's
it is. Put that on a t-shirt.
All right, I will. Maybe someday. But no, yeah, absolutely. So your top priority is going to be trying to find your personal solution to the problem I posed to you today. Okay. What about you're going to work on after that? Because obviously, so that's a lot of mental stuff, for sure. So your mental is going to be your number 1 priority. What's the next thing you want to work on?
Just try not to be so desperate and neutral, or at least just do not overcommit.
Right. Try not to force things, basically. Like try to like just play it like normal, as opposed to succumbing to emotions.
Normal instead of like I'm trying to like I don't know, just change the world or something, like bombs about.
Yeah.
No, I have 99 seconds and a dream.
99 seconds and a dream. That's right. And to be fair, if you become like, was it like the Guilty Gear version of was it Hungry Box that always like the timer gets surprisingly low in matches or something? Like, or no, that's just Jigglypuff in general, I suppose.
Yeah,
like, if you got to be the Guilty Gear version of that to do it, hey, do it. Who cares? Like if you need to like play and then the timer goes down to 30 seconds all the time, who cares?
Mm-hmm. Then outside of that, I guess just as we reviewed before, just find ways to just approach neutral better in general. Okay. Like prioritizing like certain buttons over others. Like,
gotcha. So your first priority is mental. Then you're gonna work on like neutral. pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
trying
exactly.
to maintain a safe and strong neutral.
Mm-hmm. Which is something I know takes like a lot of like time and
because to be fair,
energy.
just these two things can keep you occupied for like all the way until like Street Fighter 6 comes out and shit, like months. Like, because these are two very general things. And they're also somewhat nebulous because it's not really a lot to think about in the day-to-day, as long as you keep an idea of where your overall trajectory is.
Mm-hmm,
And if you're going to want to work on the larger concepts, I would recommend not necessarily not like a diary, just like a way to keep track of things so that you can see the bigger picture, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like a little like footnote.
Yeah, like
Almost.
a little footnote, little notes, spreadsheet, like any number of ways. Just I'd recommend if you're working on large concepts, it's very hard to see that day to day, and make sure that you're still on the track of improving over time. And so I would recommend, doing logs or daily, like writing down something about it so that you can keep track of it over time and look at like the big list and be like, okay, so this day was that. And then, oh yeah, cause so I've improved this much by this date. Like save some replays, for example. Like maybe if you save one replay a day and then like at the end of the month, you look through the 30 replays and try to track how much you've improved from the game 1 to the game 30.
Right.
Like whatever it takes, because like again, these are very hard to keep track of in moment to moment improvement.
And I do have a note. I haven't jotted down any notes this time around, but a lot. But that's not to say I like, because like I really am like it's something I just get and like understand, because like I don't know, because like mental is like something that's been on my mind like for months, really.
Yeah.
So just yeah, I don't know how to put it.
Well, and again,
I'm listening.
Yeah. Well, and in order to be a champion, you have to have the mentality of a champion. Again,
And-
nobody wins Evo thinking that they don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who wins Evo is like, damn, I am sick and I am working so hard for this. So
Yeah, and they all have that positive mindset behind it all.
the healthy attitude and mentality towards competition.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just
100%.
just stay positive. For like, if we're having like a general overall thing, be positive to yourself.
Yes. Well, and to be fair, I often like to actually bring up, so this is not like a rag on Leffen at all, but I like to bring up Leffen when it comes to a lot of the mental and the positive fortitude and stuff. So a lot of people view Leffen as like a rager. He's so mad all the time. He does all this. But at the end of the day, he puts his money where his mouth is. And he grinds. Right? He may say, oh, this shit is broken and imbalanced. And then he grinds for 10 hours against that character. Right?
Yeah.
Like, he may not sound necessarily positive, but his overall is. Again, that's the moment to moment versus the overall. Like overall, he has the mentality where he's just like, I can just beat this if I do enough to it. But maybe in the moment to moment, it's not necessarily as positive. So he's like a peak example I think of when it's like Leffen has that mindset that doesn't sound positive at first glance. Granted, as far as I know, he's also just gotten better over time anyway, as far as the moment to moment. But
Yeah.
But still, he's always been able to, put his nose to the grindstone when it mattered.
And I gotta remember, like, hey, it's okay to feel as well. That doesn't make you any less of a competitor. That doesn't make you any less of a person.
Right.
You are only human.
And if you're competing, like genuinely competing, it's impossible to not feel. Because in some way, you're going to feel every loss and every victory. And you have to. Because if you don't feel bad for losing, you're not going to want to win.
Mhm.
Right? You're not going to say, oh, well, I just need to get better. You're just going to say, oh, I lost. Bummer. That's
Yeah.
not the competitive mindset. That's the I enjoy playing the game, so I play the game mindset.
Yeah, yeah.
But like,
And
if you want to win, you have to feel the loss. You have to feel the victory.
And I think the fact that I feel like just, and you know, like in any capacity about, you know, my performance at all, just kind of like speaks numbers about like, you know, just how I am, right? Just
Yeah.
competition wise, because personally, I love this shit, and I could like do it for like forever.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. And no, I feel you. I've always loved competing. It's always been a super fun. It's just kind of the way I enjoy gaming. Grew up on esports a lot, so like I've very much so been like, games, competition. They're so hand in hand to me.
Uh-huh.
But absolutely. Well, I guess unless there's anything else you have questions about, want to talk about, I suppose we're ready to wrap it up.
Yeah, I don't have anything else personally. Mainly just because like everything I had in mind, just got answered. So
Okay, well that's good. That means it was thorough.
it would.
I like that.
Oh yeah, no, it was a very productive review.
Good.
Like
Fantastic.
we didn't nearly go over like the actual VODs themselves this time.
Right. Well, and to be fair, like I mentioned, there really wasn't much to go over directly in the VODs. Because, for example, the way you played against Happy and May were the same, even though that shouldn't be the case, which means that it was an outside the game factor.
Clearly.
Yep. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, Pip, for joining us, and thank you everyone who tuned into the stream. Make sure to have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.